Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood therapist Alfonso over here at Mental Matters FYI. Need to give you some information about depression that I think may help your life and maybe the life of somebody that you know. Hang on, be right back. Hey everybody. So I wanted to talk to you today about what is the second most prevalent psychiatric disorder in the United States, and that is depression. Estimates have people in this country who suffer from depression being at around 21 million, or I believe about 8% of the population. Anxiety is the only psychiatric disorder that's more prevalent in our country in the United States, with anxiety having, there are about 41 million Americans who suffer from anxiety every year. What is depression from the neighborhood therapist? I feel sad sometimes, but am I depressed? People will have episodes where they go through life where they feel sad. You can lose a job, you can lose a loved one, you can be in a relationship that's making you feel a certain way. Just because you feel sad on an intermittent basis doesn't mean that you are depressed. Sadness will come and sadness will go. Depression is a way that you live your life psychiatrically. What are the symptoms of depression that we look for when we are diagnosing somebody with a depression, whether it's a persistent depressive disorder, which is a mild depression, or a major depressive disorder that may have with it a desire or thoughts of harming oneself? Individuals who suffer from depression feel helpless, hopeless, worthless, overwhelmed, sad, demoralized, no energy. They have an apathy or just no desire to do anything. They can have what's called avolition, which is a lack of desire to do things that they know would normally make them feel good. Or they can have anhedonia, and that is when they're doing something that makes them feel good, and in the midst of doing that, they lose all desire to continue to do it. That ranges from eating your favorite meal to making love. While you're in the midst of doing it, you just don't want to. And obviously, the ones that we look at that are the big boys on the block in terms of symptoms of depression is when a person loses the desire to live. I want to try to get you to understand something comparing the psychiatric to the physical, or what's called a somatic. If an individual has cancer, we can look at that on testing and determine not only that they have cancer, but also what stage the cancer is in. Depression is not something that you see on imaging. Depression, or the diagnosis of it, is based upon three things. It's based upon an assessment of the individual. It is based upon a continued observation of the individual, and what we call collateral information. That's information that we get from other people. Here's the thing about depression that is maybe even baffling: the people who suffer from depression go to great lengths to look like they are not depressed. You may be surprised at the number of people that I treat who are actively suicidal, who every day of their lives they're looking for a reason not to kill themselves. They're looking for a reason not to pull the covers over their head. They're looking for a reason not to just check out. One of the worst things you can do with somebody who suffers from depression is play sideshow psychiatrist and tell them all they need to do is this. Think about it this way. If a person came to you and said, I was just diagnosed with stage 3 metastatic colon cancer or breast cancer, would you tell them all you need to do is pray or get some St. John's root or something like that, some ashwagandha? No, we would say make sure you are following the advice of your physician, of your oncologist. But unfortunately, we have so many people who go to YouTube University and get their information from other forms of social media, and we'll tell them all you need to do is pray more. You need to get out and do things more. You need to be more active in the community. That's not how it works. Depression is as much of a killer as is cancer. There's a famous story of the person who went to their priest and said that they were depressed going back and forth with their priest, not back and forth in a way like this, but going back to the priest saying that they were feeling depressed and suicidal. And ultimately, the priest said, or the person of faith said, that if you really wanted to commit suicide, you would have done it by now. The individual committed suicide and left a note to some degree saying, make sure you let the priest know that I was serious. When an individual suffers from depression and they no longer have a desire to live, you'll see it sometimes in their everyday life. You'll see them pulling away. You'll see them commit to doing something and then saying, no, I just don't feel like it. Oftentimes, we can see a precipitous decline in the quality of that person's life. Their baseline or how they normally live is here, but you'll see them start to live here and become normalized at living here. Those individuals are looking for a reason every day to stay alive as opposed to not committing suicide. One of the things that we always look for as psychiatric or mental health professionals, we always look for a person who's depressed and suicidal and apathetic about life. We get concerned when that individual all of a sudden decides that they are no longer depressed, that hey, I'm feeling good now. And we'll say, wow, that person's doing better. The medication worked or the therapy worked or whatever worked, the prayer, whatever else worked. That's not a good sign that we look for. Because one of the things that an individual who is suicidal from depression, one of the things that they wrestle with is a decision to commit suicide. Once they have decided to carry through with the act, all of a sudden they can seem almost giddy. There's a story of the young man who was feeling suicidal and he was wrestling with his decision. When he decided to commit suicide, he actually drank antifreeze and he went out and he had a good time with his friends and he went home and he died. While he was with his friends eating and laughing, he was already dying, but the friends thought that he was actually embracing life. One of the reasons I bring this kind of content to you is I want to make sure you understand that a psychiatric disorder is not something that we play with. It takes a very long time to get all of that stuff that you see back there on my wall. It takes a very long time to get that because we have to go through a lot of training, a lot of education, internships, externships, because there's so many nuances to psychiatric disorder. It's not hard to diagnose depression, and it's also not hard to treat it. But what we need to do is make sure when we are feeling those symptoms that I mentioned earlier, that we are getting the help because it's out there. Don't worry about what somebody is telling you about. If you say that you're depressed, you're claiming something, that you're creating your own reality. It doesn't work that way. Look at the statistics. In the African American community, there's been over a 200% increase in suicide. And many of these suicides, we trace it back and we see where the person had a psychiatric disorder like depression. So the next time you think about telling somebody who's depressed that you just need to become more active, you need to pray more, you need to do this, all those things are wonderful, but they are not a cure for what is a bona fide brain disease. Remember what I said to you before. If someone said that they had metastatic stage 3 colon or breast cancer or something like that, you wouldn't tell them to pray. You would say, let's get help and let's make sure we're listening to the professionals. Hey, you guys know what I love to say. I really do love you. Don't have to know you in order to be madly in love with you. Do something for me today. If possible, reach down and try to help pick somebody else up. I'm going to throw a video up over right about there that's going to talk about anxiety. You guys do me a favor. If this content means anything to you, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I love you and I will catch you the next time. Y'all be blessed.